This morning I'm exhausted already, and and all I've done is take out the flour, the eggs, the pasta, what's the board called? Cutting board. The pasta cutting board that my dad made. And I found the pasta maker. How old is this pasta maker? How old is this pasta maker?
I don't know, 50. How old are you?
29.
29.
The pasta maker is 29 years old.
No, that thing is it's at least 50 years old.
So we're making noodles today, but we're not doing them by hand. We're going to use the machine. So my mom's starting to get the flour.
Alice,
Yes.
where's the machine for?
To flatten the dough.
And to,
Cut the noodle.
but to make it, are you going to use the machine to make it too?
Oh no, you know what? I have a machine. I have a bagel machine and a dough machine.
So then
I have a mixer. Do you want me to bring my mixer?
wait, here.
We're going to be doing it by hand. So my mom's going to be putting down flour, making a well in it, if I remember right, to put the eggs in, and then making the noodles. Ma, do you remember when I was maybe 10 years old and we lived on Hannum? The Shapsis and Shauna Chappelle lived across the street.
And you guys make noodles, yeah.
And I was trying to make pizza dough,
Yeah.
and I ended up making noodles over and over. Isn't that funny?
You put a whole bunch of eggs in it.
I used at least 2 dozen eggs that I stole from the store even then. And I kept making noodle dough and wondering why the pizza dough wasn't rising when we were making pizza. So even then I had an interest in cooking. And even then I didn't know what I was doing. Okay, we'll be back as soon as my mom organizes all the flour and we put the well together.
What size eggs are these?
They're, oh my God. Oh my God, I think it says on them. Look on the top. It says large or extra large.
These are not extra large. Look, they look like a pigeon egg.
Not pigeon eggs. Oh my God. And I was going to get brown eggs too. Oh my God.
Look.
They're not pigeon eggs. See, they're large. They're large.
Look.
It's not a pigeon egg. Oh my God, Mom. So what I wanted to say was we put the flour here and made a well, but I have no idea how many cups my mother used. And I asked her and she has no idea either. So here's another example of her just doing it by eye. So I'm sure there's recipes out there that give you the exact amount of flour and egg mixture you need. I have no idea. So she's gonna start with this, and I guess based on the texture, if she needs more eggs or if she needs more flour, we'll see from that. These eggs are size large. They're not a pigeon egg. You're so funny. That's so funny. Okay, so what happens now? So the eggs are in here. So for however much flour that is, there's 6 eggs. Now what happens?
I don't know.
What do you mean you don't know? I don't know what I'm doing here. Are they supposed to be scrambled?
Scrambled.
Or mixed? Or beaten? Okay, again, are they supposed to be beaten?
Thank you.
So they're supposed to be fully beaten by themselves, or are you mixing the flour with it too?
We beat them.
Do you add salt?
I usually like to have a little bit.
So what happens here? I don't understand. So you're gonna add salt, and then are you gonna incorporate the dough in the flour and the egg all together? But here's my question, why aren't we doing this in a bowl?
Why in a bowl?
Because then it's all nice in one place and you could mix it. I don't know. I think maybe we're doing something wrong. I remember you doing this. I remember doing this also when I tried to make pizza dough. I still can't think about that. That was so funny. I was wondering why it didn't rise. So now we have 8 eggs. How much noodles do you think this is gonna make?
I have no idea.
Okay, well, we have pans. You could use styrofoam trays or pans lined with wax paper. once the noodles are done, that we'll go ahead and put on, because then we're going to freeze the noodles today. And we're going to make a bolognese sauce later this week with the noodles, because this is just too much work to make the bolognese sauce and the noodles all in one day.
Why don't you do this?
It's too much work.
This is not work.
Yes.
Go ahead.
I'll be back. It looks like I'm going to have to start, whatever, integrating.
Incorporate all this thing here.
Yeah, we'll see what ends up
And
happening.
make sure the egg doesn't run out.
That's exactly what's going to happen.
The tendency of just running it goes away.
Yeah, I have a bad feeling that's exactly what's going to happen. Okay, I'll be back. I did the best I could by, and look, the egg didn't run away, by putting the flour in with the egg, using the fork. And now my mom said it's time to use your hands. So that's not my hands, because my hands have no idea what they're doing with this.
I don't know what you did with this egg.
I mixed it in. How hard is it to mix it in?
It was hard.
You were supervising. Oh my God. What do you need more? Water or an egg?
Okay.
Here, you want a cup? So we're gonna add a little more water in here. Why not egg? Why are we adding water?
Why a little more? How much water did you add in here?
None, but meaning we're gonna add liquid to it. No, why are you not adding egg?
Huh?
Why did you not put egg in?
Because there's enough egg in here.
Okay, so to soften this up a little bit or get a little, whatever, moist texture so my mom can integrate the rest of the flour. So if you're following it by a recipe, it'll probably give you the exact amount of liquid that you need for the exact amount of flour. But because we don't follow instructions here or directions, it's going to be back and forth, back and forth. So another reason why my mother does not bake. She cooks because she doesn't follow directions. So this way she can add and do what she needs to do to get this to the right texture. So once this comes into a ball and is the right texture, and I put the noodle flattening machine on the board, I'll be back. So as my mother finishes, oh, sorry, my finger. So as my mother finishes up her activity, the dough's coming good shape, Mom. See, you still know how to do it. We were talking about using the water and the egg and the texture of the dough. So since we're making noodles, well, we're making egg noodles, so we used egg. Otherwise, you could just use water, like she said the poor people do, which reminded me of the story of how the strozzapreti, my God, it's the hanging priest. So strozzapreti pasta came about because they didn't have eggs to use. They just had the water, because back then the story is that the clergy, so the priest, has stolen or had his people take all the eggs from the poor people, so they had to make pasta, which is flour and water. So my mother was saying the texture of this dough was ready for gnocchi. If we made gnocchi today, which we could have made potato gnocchi or just this, or just with the water and no egg, but it needs to get a little tougher, Mom, not as soft. Mm-hmm. So because we're making noodles. Because we're making noodles, it needs to be a little tougher, not as soft.
Oh, what?
Tougher.
Tougher? Tougher?
Yes, tough.
Oh, harder.
Harder, not as soft. So tough, like meat. Meat is tough. Firm.
See, my English isn't good.
And thank you for pointing out that mine isn't either. Everyone appreciates that.
Yeah.
And I know you're still working on your refund from my education. Okay, so the dough, as you see, it's getting, this is going to be a lot of dough. This is going to make a lot of noodles once we get the machine and start flattening it out. So it's coming to shape. We have flour still left on the board, which we'll keep. That which isn't used, so that when we put the machine up and the noodles sit in the flour, they don't stick together. Is that right? That's not right?
Mm-hmm.
How's that not right?
Because you don't know what I'm going to do with this flour yet.
God help me. Well, we'll soon see what she ends up doing. I'm just assuming based on what I used to see as a child. Okay, I'll let you guys know what she ends up doing with all this flour. My mother says that I should be doing this because I need to learn to do this. So I offered to crank the pasta machine when it's in there. That's the most important part.
Well, really. If
Do you know?
If you don't have this thing here done, the important part is not going to be there.
I'm thinking next time we should just buy fresh pasta from the store. Or get it from the store. Because I heard that they have really good fresh pasta at Sorrento. So maybe, yeah, that somebody today posted on Facebook that they really like the fresh pasta there. So I think maybe that's what we should be doing next time as opposed to this. What do you think? They're closed today. Otherwise, I probably would have just put out all the ingredients and made it look like we made it and then ended up with... That
I made it? I mean, that you made it.
That I made it, of course. I wouldn't say you. I would take the credit for me. Okay, we're almost done. The flour's almost all incorporated into this dough. So I guess once that's done, we'll start cutting it out and bring out the pasta machine. My mother tried to show me how to incorporate the dough and roll the dough. And I told her, go ahead, say it. Say it.
Say nothing.
My hands aren't like hers. So she's 85 and she has strength still in her palm. I don't even have strength in my palm, let alone my fingers. So it was a challenge. I tried to roll and incorporate and fold the dough. And anyways, it didn't really work out well. So my mother took the dough back and she's going to put it back in shape so that we can work from it. This reminds me, Mom, when I took a pottery class with Ginny and I had to roll the... what's that called? I was going to call it dough. The...
Clay.
Oh my God, what's wrong with me? Really, my brain isn't working. Thank you, the clay. I was going to say the ceramic dough.
Who was not born here, you or me?
Oh my gosh. So anyways, the instructor would get upset because, I mean, literally would stand behind me and try and help me roll the clay into a ball so that I could then put it on the wheel or whatever else I was cutting it, making whatever pieces. Either we were throwing the clay or however we were doing it. But yeah, I don't have that technique. So I will say this, for the past however long I ruined the dough by trying to fold it together. My mom's trying to put it back. This is a labor of love because this is a workout. Besides my hands don't have the strength, my body, a roly-poly body of mine, does not have the strength to move, and it doesn't. I mean, you saw I was suffering here doing this. Yes. I know, but this is the whole thing. I'm not used to this technique. A lot of people say, Alice, it's simple to make pasta dough. It's flour, water, and egg. Flour, water, and egg. But I'll tell you something, unless you have the technique to do it, just buy the frozen or the fresh pasta. Look, I like making things and having pride in doing it, but this one, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do. I can't get the technique done. Ginny, you said, has strong palm, so she could do the dough and roll that. Mine, I barely type on a keyboard or on my cell phone.
So Ginny learned better than you.
Everything. But we know this. I, though, was the... You're going to have to use the word for me again, Ma. I was in the front, so I led. I was the first one to try and do it. And everybody learned from me my mistakes and did better, right? See? So good for me. I should deserve some type of award for that. Okay, once this dough is back to normal again, I ruined it. My mom's going to try and put it back in the shape it should be. We'll be back. So as I stepped away to visit my mom's neighbor who came to the door with her new adopted puppy, my mother decided to get started without me. So she took the roll of dough, cut it into pieces, flattened it out a little bit with her hand because I don't see a rolling pin out. And now she is putting it in the noodle machine for its first flattening. And then it's going to probably go back one more time at least, if not twice or 3 times. And then it'll go into the additional cutter adapter that we'll add on here to make the noodles. Am I right?
You could do this, you know.
Okay, I will do this, but you started without me. I just wanted to show them. So they're going through their first round. They're going to have a couple more to go till they'll get thin enough for us to put into the noodle adapter slicer. The noodle went through its first thinning. You know, this is a good machine I should put myself in. It went through its first thinning, and then now my mom is putting it in through its second and third thinning at the same time, so that we just move through this quickly. And it'll be thin like this that I have here set on this cutting board. And then they're gonna go through their noodle adapter also. This is just gonna make them thin enough for this. So she's taking these pieces, we'll cut them in half, and then we'll put them through the noodle one. Well, my mother did, got the noodles all nice and thin. By the way, this is a hard thing to do. So even doing it with the machine is time consuming.
Where do we put those noodles now that we cut them?
They're there.
Where?
Oh, once they come out,
Yeah.
I have the pans that I have the wax paper on. So I need to organize my assembly line. So we added on, or my mother added on, because I couldn't figure out how to add it, the noodle. It's just going to go through this once, right?
I hope so.
Because I can imagine going through twice.
Where's
Oh,
the
look how
pan?
nice they are. I'm coming with it.
Well,
Let me get it. Let me get it. Let me get it. Jesus. We have so much pasta dough left. Oh, maybe you can make, can you make crepes, Mom, with this? Can you make cannelloni crepes with this? Or a different dough?
I'm making no cannelloni. Are you making them?
No, you can.
No.
Oh my God. Okay, so this is the first set of noodles we made. There's like 5 layers in here. So we're going to have them set. They're going to go into the freezer. And then I'm going to, well, my mother's going to take this attachment adapter off, and we're going to make thicker size noodles also. So we'll be right back with a new set. Although this is a nice size.
It's not called thick, it's wider. Did I send you to school?
I don't think I paid attention. My mother's enjoying laughing at me as I try to add on this attachment. But listen, if you've never touched a pasta machine before, and how do you know what you're doing?
I never touched it and I knew what I was doing.
Okay, well, okay. So anyways, I don't know what I'm doing. So we're gonna make this next size here bigger, and then we're gonna make the spaghetti size. So we'll do 3 sizes because we have enough pasta. And just a side note here, I ran out of, because again, I don't prepare right, wax paper, but my mother had another box in the back in the storage room. So that's something that she's always prepared for. When the pandemic, we didn't run out of any supplies, not toilet paper, paper towels, anything, because my mother grew up in the war, so we always have stuff there in case and stocked. So we're gonna start making these thicker ones now. So this actually wasn't that hard to do.
No, of course not.
So here are the thicker noodles. These are like noodles that, so yes.
Wider.
These are wider noodles.
Thank you.
Yeah, I know. So I guess I didn't do well in geometry either. Thick versus wide. Anyways, these are wider noodles. So maybe these ones we make with the bolognese sauce because they're thick, like a fettuccine. Is it not a fettuccine?
The word is not thick.
They're wide, like a fettuccine.
Okay.
And then the other ones, I wonder what we make with that. Maybe we make the pasta with beans with that again? I don't know. So our next step is we have the rest of the afternoon, so we could actually make the bolognese sauce, Mom. We have nothing else to do.
Funny.
So we'll figure out what kind of sauces we're going to make. Tomorrow we're going to make pork cutlets. So we're going to fry those outside so that the house doesn't reek of oil smell frying. So these guys are going to, do they sit for a little bit and then they go into the freezer, Mom?
Yes.
Okay, so
right now in there.
So I'm going to clean up the kitchen, put these guys in the freezer, and then we'll be back for part 2 of the noodle making episode once we have the pasta sauce ready.
Well, you have to clean this up.
I know I need to do this. Oh, and by the way, if anybody buys a pasta machine, don't use water to clean it or oil. You just use a brush and a paper towel or something, because otherwise the mechanism inside of it gets wet and they don't cut well anymore. So for those of you who saw this episode and thought it was very interesting, I highly recommend you just go and buy fresh pasta someplace and pretend that you made it, or have a mother help you with it, because this is not a one-person job at all. We'll see you next episode.